Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. And in this episode, we are kicking off the ABT for 2026, headed off to the mighty Gippsland Lakes, 3rd and 4th in February. Absolutely cracking episode. Lots of different results and really interesting techniques. I think you're going to love it. Look, I'm going to roll the intros, get into the details, and then get into the angler interviews because there's a lot to get through. Here we go.
Welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. This is where you need to be every Tuesday to find out all the latest tips and tricks to help you target bream on lures. You'll get to hear from some of Australia's elite bream competition anglers and see how they were able to achieve their results in competitions around the country. Now, here's your host, the 2019 Hobie Kayak Fishing World Champion, Andrew Deeth.
All right. So like I said, for this one, it was an absolutely cracking event. Some interesting conditions down there too. What I might do is I'll run through the bite periods and what have you for the comp. And like I said, straight into the angler interviews. Okay. So the Tuesday, the 3rd of the 2nd, I still get it mixed up which day. Sometimes I say Saturday when it's not. 86 in the fish activity wheel. Minor bite period was at 6:49 a.m. through to 8:19 a.m. with a major bite period in the back end of the session at 1:10 p.m. through to 3:40. Low tide was at 4:12 a.m. at 0.51. High tide was at 10:26 a.m. at 1.28 meters. On the Wednesday, slightly lower in the fish activity wheel, 73, with a minor bite period at 7:56 a.m. through to 9:26. The major bite period was right in the back end of the session, so 1:56 through to 4:26. Low tide was at 5:09 a.m. at 0.53, running up to a high tide at 11:09 a.m. at 1.2. All right. I'm going to get into it. There's a lot to get through. Here are the angler interviews. Okay, so first up in 3rd place in the non-boating division, we have an angler dropping 2 fish on the Tuesday for 1.947, backing it up with a bag of 3 fish for 3.240 on day 2, giving him a total of 5.187. And 3rd place, I have Allan Morrison. Welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks a lot.
Mate, that is a nice result. And one of the more unusual ones in that you're right up the top with just the 5 fish.
Yeah, they were pretty good fish. So
That's right.
I think they averaged over a kilo. So
Yep, that's exactly right. Over a kilo for all your fish that you landed. It's a pretty good run.
yeah,
Very.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I'd be happy with it too. All right. Let's talk about pre-fishing, mate. Did you get a chance to get up and have a look around, or what did you do in preparation for the comp?
Yeah, no, I went out in my own boat pre-fishing and, found fish most places I went. I think there was only one spot that I went to that I didn't get fish. So
Okay.
I figured there was fish around. So in one spot I got a couple at 38 in consecutive casts. So
Wow.
I figured, well, this is all right. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what's your go-to in terms of lures? How are you targeting them?
depends. If I'm on flats, it's either Daiwa spikes mainly. I've got a wise minnow, Daiwa wise minnow that I like using that I've painted up myself that does all right. But although in a comp I've only caught 1 fish in all the comps that I've done in it, but recreational, at times it's nearly a fish a cast. So
Yeah. I don't remember seeing a wise minnow for a while.
no, I come across them and I got some colours I didn't think much of, so I painted my own.
Very nice. And what did you paint in? What sort of colour?
Sort of an olive colour, sort of my version of the AU colour, or I think they call it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've got some spikes and the wise minnow painted in it, and I've done all right with it. So
Very good. Are you also a plastics fisherman, or are you mainly hard bodies?
no, I use plastics depending on the circumstances. Like that's what I got the fish on the first day with plastics.
Okay.
Yeah, depends on what's happening. I'll use whatever I need, sort of thing. Like I do use vibes and that as well.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. All right. So after the briefing, who'd you get paired up with to fish with on day 1?
Mitchell Broomquist.
Yeah. So Mitchell. So okay, he's been on a couple of times now.
Yeah.
What did you have a bit of a chat about what you were going to do to get ready, or?
Yeah, he told me he wasn't real sure and he'd get back to me later. So about 10 o'clock, I think it was, he said, yeah, we're going to go and fish at Eagle Bay, so just on flats. So had to rig up for that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's roll into the comp day. Tell us about your day. Like it was obviously a bit tough, but you got great fish.
Yeah. Yeah, like Mitch had been getting a fish every now and then. It wasn't a constant bite. Yeah, I got my first one at about 10 to 12, I think it was.
Right.
A lot of casts until I got it.
Right.
And that one was 40. So I was happy with that one.
Absolutely. So 44 to start with. And what'd you get him on?
The wave minnow
Okay.
plastic
Okay.
Daiwa wave minnow.
Okay. So I'm not familiar with Eagle Bay. Are you talking shallow flats, like a couple of feet, or what sort of?
Yeah.
Okay. So then with the wave minnow, what sort of jig head are you running in that?
I think I had I think it was a 30,
Okay. So light.
30 grand. Yeah.
And one of the covert jig heads, one of the hidden weight ones, or one of the like a jig head?
No, just a jig head, yeah.
Okay. Very cool. All right. Well, I can imagine that was a pretty good relief to hit a 40 that kind of late in
Well,
the day.
a relief just to get a fish, actually.
100%. 100%. All right.
I think until before then, I think I had one tap and that was it.
Wow.
It just didn't hook up.
Right. Is there any reason, like obviously it was a tough day. Did anything change for you to get that bite? Did the structure change or you just kept casting and hit one?
No, I think just kept casting and hit one. It was the same structure the whole time.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, we just sort of fished in the one spot, one basic area for the whole day. So
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You got the one big one. How'd you get the second one, which was another good one?
yeah, it was a 32-ish, I think it was.
Yep.
So 32 fork. That was 32 and a half or something like that.
Yeah. So solid. And was that come on a wave minnow as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I did throw hard bodies and that, yeah, but just wasn't getting touches with them. So
Yeah. Okay. So your first one was late. When did the second one come?
about an hour later.
Okay. So a fair bit of time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, it was good enough to give you 1.947 on day one. Where did that have you sitting in the leaderboard?
16th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a bit of work to do.
Yeah. Well, yeah, all I was planning and hoping was to get into the top 10. But then, too, in the comp this year, they gave Pride packs down to 16, so I probably didn't have to move.
There you go. You could have still got snow. You're better off up in the top. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Who'd you get paired up? Because you had a good day with big fish on day two. Who'd you get paired up with?
Scott Wilson.
Okay. All right. So what was the plan with Scott? What were you going to fish?
He wanted to fish jetties at Meetung first, and then he'd have to go to Tambo and just get bag fish.
Yep.
And then try and find some bigger ones.
Okay. Okay. So if he's fishing jetties in the start, that's obviously going to be a bit harder for you on the back. Tell us about your day. How'd you go about getting some?
Well, I had a bag by 8:30 and he hadn't had a touch.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I didn't know that.
So, yeah, it worked well for me because I do fish jetties quite a bit.
Yeah.
And with the wind and the way he had the boat positioned, we were both fishing off the back of it.
Okay.
So
you had a good shot anyway.
yeah, but where we went first, like we both had crabs on, and then I just saw all the mussels, and I thought, oh, I'll put a mussel on. He's using the crab, yeah, and they just seemed to like the mussel and wasn't interested in the crab.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So tell me, the mussel, is it Callum's one, the Outback Bremerbaits one?
Yeah.
Yeah. And in heavy or light?
Heavy.
Heavy.
Yeah, like I mainly use the heavy in crab, like the heavy crab and mussel, because the jetties I usually fish with them are deep. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. So with that, if you're fishing the mussel, were you finding those fish on the bottom of the structure or up high in the water column?
no, on the bottom.
On the bottom.
Definitely on the bottom, yeah. But you just put it down and just leave that down just let it sit on the bottom for a minute or two.
Yeah, right.
And then just did a little twitch, and that's usually when you got the fish. So it had been sitting on the bottom like for a while before they come and took it.
Yeah, right. So they're probably watching it. Sneaky black brim.
Yeah.
And it looks like, okay, so you had a 38 and a 38 and a 33. Was that in the first bunch of fish?
Yeah. No, the first fish was 38.
Okay.
And then it was I think it was 31, I think.
You're weighting bigger than that, but you might have upgraded.
Yeah. So I got a 38, then I think it was 31, then I got another 38. Yeah, and then later in the day I got the 32.
Yeah. 32 or 33 and a half was the...
Yeah, 33 and a half, whatever it was.
Yeah, okay. All right. So back on your jetties and pontoons, what sort of lines and leaders are you running to pull them out of there?
If I've got crabs, I'm using roughly 4-pound line straight through.
Okay.
Then on the muscle, I've got 6-pound Berkeley X9 or 9X braid.
Okay.
And then I was using 4-pound leader there.
Okay. So both relatively light. That surprised me.
Yeah, well, like I fished Holland Landing a lot, and everyone tells me I should be using 10 or 12-pound leader, but I use 4 or 6 and I get a lot of bites, but doesn't mean I always get the fish. But
Yeah, I think, and not that I know Hollands because I've never been there, but I think the current runs havoc there too, which makes it hard to fish.
Yeah, conditions have got to be right there.
Yeah.
I find anyway.
Yeah.
And like there is where I mainly use plastics as well on the edges.
Okay. So you got your bag early and you had a good bag early. So I think you said 238s and a 31 on the muss. How'd you get your upgrade? How'd that happen?
Yeah, that was on the muss as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was, we'd gone away and we went to Tambo and Scott got his fish. Like I caught some little ones there, but Scott got a bag of fish. Then we went to Paynesville for a look and didn't get anything. And we went up sort of across from Lock Sport. Yeah, didn't get a touch. So then we went back to the jetties at Meetung, and that's where I think Scott upgraded one there. And then I got the one at 33 there.
Yeah, right.
I did drop another couple of good ones.
Okay.
But yeah, they were right under the jetty and didn't give me a chance to get them out.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the scores like that last upgrade was critical. You still would have been placed pretty well, but it definitely bumped you up into third.
Yeah.
That's very good. Very interesting.
Yeah, well, one of the ones that I dropped, I reckon, were like it'd have to be close to 40.
Okay. So big fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably hurt at the end of the day as well.
Yeah, well, I wasn't worried about that because I had a good bag and I was happy. I don't think, in all the comps, I don't think I've ever had a bag by 8:30.
Yeah. Yeah. How much of a relief is that?
Well, yeah, real relief.
Absolutely. All right, mate. Before we move off the fishing, mate, what sort of rod and reel are you liking at the moment?
I've got probably the Daiwa in-feet rods being my favourite. Yeah, the reels are all pretty well Daiwa reels.
Yeah, okay.
I've got a couple of Shimano, but I've got a Miller rod with a Shimano on it.
Yep.
And yeah, I've got a few different types of Daiwa reels, rods with Daiwa reels on them.
Nice.
A couple of Samaki rods.
Okay.
They got Daiwa reels on it.
Yeah.
One of the Samaki rods I won in Tasmania in the comp.
Nice.
And I thought, it'll be their cheap one, that giveaway thing. When I looked it up, it was over $300 worth, so $350 or something. So
yeah, so
I figured maybe it's not the cheap one.
Not the cheap one. Not the cheap one. And I've seen a lot of guys using Samaki rods and soon to be reels too. So
yeah, no, I do like them. On the tournament, I'll take 5 rods, which I take the 2 Samakis, I take 2 Daiwas and the Miller rod.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a bit of a spread. Very good. All right. For coming in third place, what'd you get to take home?
A pack of crabs.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and all the colours that I want, so all in the olive colour and some with the UV, which I don't have, but I do now.
That's right. You know, the Cranka pack is pretty good. Actually, all the packs are good, but the Cranka pack's pretty good, particularly if you like crabs.
Yeah, well, that's right. I use them like every time I go to Paynesville, I use crabs. So because there's couple of jetties that I go to that are close to the boat ramp. So as soon as I put the boat in, I go there. If I do any good, and if not, I then go to the Mitchell or Tambo or wherever, but Newlands on. But
Very good. All right, mate. Look, last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
well, I'd like to thank the boaters that I've fished with over the times and their the ABT for putting the event on and the sponsors for the nice packs.
How good's that?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. All right, mate. Well, look, it's been a pleasure to have a chat with you. Thanks for coming on the show. And hopefully we get to have another chat to you again soon.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks, Allan. Okay, so coming in second place in the non-boater division, I have an angler dropping 3 fish for a great bag on day 1 of 3.315, backing it up on day 2 with 3 for 2.003, which gave him a total of 6 fish for 5.318. And second place, I have David Morris. Welcome to the show, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Honoured to be on your show, mate. I've been wanting to be on for a long time, but I never thought it'd happen. So, no, it's great. Thank you.
Oh, mate, it's a pleasure to have you on. It's great to see your name up the top there. And like we said before, collective member. And mate, we have a mutual friend, you and I.
No, yeah, that's right.
the great Brett Geddes, and we'll come back to that in a minute. But, mate, tell me in terms of pre-fishing, did you get out and have a bit of a look around?
No, we were just, my son and I, Jack was in the tournament as well. My son, Jack, he came up with his wife and 6-month-old baby. So
oh, wow.
It was a bit of a hassle, but no, not a hassle, but it was what it's like when you got young kids. So, yeah, we didn't get out to get a pre-fish at all. So we just travelled up on the Monday on the pre-fish day and just settled into our accommodation and then, went to the briefing later that day. So,
all right. And did you get a chance to catch up with your boater and line up a bit of a plan?
Yeah, well, day 1, I got paired up with Ian Nielsen, who was he's a oyster farmer from Mallacoota.
Right.
He got leases in Merimbula. Merimbula Lake, Nelson Lake, a bit north of Merimbula, and Bithry or Wappingo Lake, a bit further north. So yeah, he's got leases everywhere there, and was a wealth of knowledge on bream behaviour around the leases. So yeah, no, he was great. So
yeah, I think it's probably a good combination. An oyster farmer that's a bream fisherman, like you said, you'd be seeing them. You're just seeing what they're doing.
Yep, he observes them every day when he's working. So yeah, no, he's fantastic. So yeah,
very good. All right, well, tell us about day 1, the Tuesday. Tell us about how that played out for you. You got a great bag.
Yeah. No, well, Ian, we launched from the Tambo River at Johnsonville, and because it's 5 knot zone all the way down the river, 20 minute at 5 knots down to the entrance of the Tambo out to the lake, and we went round to the right, which is Swan Reach Bay, snags and shallow flats. So that's where we started. We went round to the right and just fished the flats, mainly with hardbody lures. So yeah.
All right. So tell us, did you get some early?
Yeah, well, Ian did. He clunked 2 39.5s, I think, pretty early. And then we were onto them for a start. First 2 fish I hooked, I broke off.
Oh.
They were the same quality of fish. They were big fish. And I don't know. I mean, I'm getting older, perhaps they broke off at the lure. So it wasn't leader knots or anything. It was attachment to the lure. So I think I might have tied my knots not too well the night before. So in the half dark, you know what it's like.
I do.
And that was on a spike, 53 spike. I lost 2 in a row. And I thought, well, that might be my day gone. So
ouch.
Anyway, yeah, they were good fish. They were like the same calibre as fish that Ian had caught. So anyway, that's what happens. Everyone loses fish, don't they?
That's right. That's right. It's how you bounce back that makes the difference.
Yeah, exactly.
So okay. All right. So with the spike, were you casting into snags or across the flats, or how'd that look?
No, we were sort of a bit past. We didn't we came across the odd snag and we didn't get much. catch much off the snags, but we sort of just fished the flats way over into, I think they call it Slaughterhouse or Salt Creek, way over into Swan Reach Bay. And it just, it was shallow, like 600 mil of water, and we just long casts over the flats with the hard bodies. And, yeah, we were just fishing the flats, digging them into the bottom. And wasn't red hot fishing, but every so often you'd get a hit. So, yeah.
Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. And then you got a couple of fish early. Did you keep any of those in the bag, or they just bag fillers?
They were just sort of bag fillers initially. I think the first couple I get were only 27, 28 forkers. But, it was good to get something in the bag.
Yeah.
And then I think there was a 32 that came in, which was pretty good, all on the hard body still, on the Spike 53. And then sort of the bite slowed. I only had 2 fish. Ian, I think he had his bag, and then the bite just dropped out, and we went round the other side to Tambo Bay.
Oh, yeah.
And just flats. It was some really good, like weed and sand patches. And that's where I sort of filled out the rest of my bag round there. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And did you continue with the spikes?
Yep, continued with the spikes. I think the second fish was a 36.5.
Okay.
Around there on the spike. And then not long from the end, it was probably 12:30 or something. I just cast out with the spike, and as soon as it hit, we were seeing fish actually free swimming. They were right up on the surface. They were everywhere.
Yeah.
As soon as it hit the water, something went clunk. And anyway, that was on the spike, 41 centimetre.
Wow. Okay. So when they put that in the weight curve, that's around about sort of 1.5 kilos. So really solid fish. 1.6 kilos.
1.57, I think they gave me to that. So,
yeah.
So that was good. So I had a 41, 36.5 and 32. That was my bag for the first day.
That was your bag. Okay.
Yeah.
And you lost a couple of fish initially, but after that, did you lose anything else?
No, not on that first day. As it turns out, those first 2 fish I lost probably hurt me anyway. So.
Maybe. Well, if you could have upgraded the 32, it probably would have made a difference.
32 probably would have gone to a 37, 38, who knows.
Yeah, all right.
Anyway, I should have been further ahead on the first day, but anyway, I wasn't. So
that's it. Nonetheless, a great result. All right. Who did you get paired up with on day 2?
Day 2, I had Richard Hadlow. He's from Sydney.
Yep.
I think you might know him.
I know Richard.
Yeah. Yep. Top fella. Right. And we launched at the same place, launched in the Tambo, and did virtually exactly the same thing.
Okay.
Richard was like Ian the day before. Like Ian, he gave me every chance. Well, because it's flats fishing, it's easier for the non-boat.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. And half the time with Ian on the first day, we were just, because of the wind and the current and whatever, we were both fishing down the back of the boat. He came down with me. It was just the way it worked out. And he said, but he was absolutely fantastic. He sort of gave me every chance. And exactly the same with Richard the second day. He obviously knew I was leading after the first day. And we got out and started going down the Tambo at 5 knots. And he said, look, he didn't have a great day the first day. And he said to me, you got a chance. He said, I haven't got a chance. He said, you've got the front of the boat. I said, no. I said, no, it's your boat. You do what you want to do. And he just said, no. He said, I'm going to sit there because Richard's got a crook leg.
Yes.
He can't get around too well. And he said, no, I'm happy sitting down the back of the boat here.
Wow.
And he said, you get up there. He said he had a Minn Kota or whatever. He controlled it with his remote. And he said, you tell me where you want to go. He said, you stand up there and you just do what you want to do.
Nice.
I thought, that is unbelievable.
Yep, absolutely.
So, great fella. Like, I couldn't be more appreciative and the two non-boaters over the 2 days, they just gave me every chance to get a fish, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
So it was incredible. So,
and both of your collective members, I'm pretty happy to see that too.
yeah, exactly. So, I couldn't believe it, you know, it's just amazing. I've done quite a few tournaments and, virtually 99% of the boaters I've been with have been just like that. So,
yeah.
But I've never been in that position before, so they didn't have to worry about me down the back of the boat. So,
well, there you go. All right. Well, tell us how you caught some fish.
Yeah, well, on the second day, Richard, it was a lot tougher. On the first day, I think I caught 12 fish on the first day for that bag. On the second day, it was only 6 or 7.
Yeah, okay.
But it was tough. I didn't get a fish till about 8:40, I think it was, on the second day.
Mm-hmm.
And then started off with a couple of smaller ones, 27s, 28s, and then I got a couple of 32s, and then the last fish of the day was at 30.5. So,
okay,
yeah, I only got the 6 for the day. So I just needed one kick of fish, you know.
Yeah.
But just couldn't get it. So the bag was 32, 30.5.
Right. And was it the same sort of technique? Were you still on the spike?
Yep. Exactly the same lure. Yeah, exactly the same. But then, yeah, we fished the same area in the Tambo mouth, right and then left. But, yeah, probably 2 of the fish came on the spike, and then the bite just dropped out, like it calmed out, it blasted out. Like it was just so calm. So I went to the Naughty's Hurricane Sprat 85, curly tail one, in the super oil, which I really rate on a nitro painted jig head 116, and just dragged it across the bottom.
Wow.
And yeah, I think I got 1 or 2 sort of upgrades with that. So that sort of filled my bag. Naughty's Hurricane was good. So
yeah, right. Okay, so 6 fish, so a lot tougher day, and especially coming from you must have been on top of the leaderboard. So So
I didn't even look at it. Like Richard was down the back sitting in his seat, and he said, he said, you're behind. He said, you're up. And I said, I don't want to know. I said, no, this is rare air, mate. I'm not used to this. So.
Oh, well, there you go. And tell me, are you from the Brett Getty school of leaders running 8 kilo?
No.
Okay, what do you run?
Yeah, I sort of am. We fished in the Straits a lot together in our kayaks and that.
Yeah.
And I do. When I go up there, I do beef up 8 kilo leaders and something. But I've sort of changed a bit. I'm at the Scotto Jane. I don't know if you talk to Scotto about leaders.
Sure.
I don't use fluorocarbon leaders.
Okay, you're on copolymer.
Yep. I use Scientific Angler, the Trout Stealth or whatever it is, and it is so thin. Like for the breaking strain, it is almost half the diameter of any of the other fluorocarbons.
Yeah, right.
So, look, I don't know. I was fishing this weekend. That week, I fished 5.9 pound, and it's only 0.15 millimeter.
Yeah, so tiny.
Which is really thin. And, I haven't fished fluorocarbon leaders for a long time, and I do a lot of fishing in Tassie land-based, and I've never used anything else for the last probably 5 years. So,
yeah, okay.
I don't know what it is, but a diameter, obviously, I don't know whether that matters or whether it's invisible or not. I'm not sure, but it's a trout tippet sort of thing. So
yeah, I think that the Scotto makes the point that once it gets to a certain diameter, it's just too thin for him to see that, and braids as well. So
yeah, well, he fishes braids straight through. So
yeah, that's right.
Incredible,
mate. You do have another unusual piece of equipment that I'm not across. So you've got a special type of fish finder.
Yeah, it's called the BG 001 or whatever it is.
A BG 001.
Yeah, people ask me, do you use a fish finder? I say, yeah, I dial his number and it's called a Brett Jetties.
Right. And he tells you where to go.
He tells me where to go, mate. He's just he's swampy. He doesn't tell everyone. He's into fish conservation and this and that. But, mate, I don't fish a lot, real. But, I've been good mates with Brett for 30 years. And if I want to go fishing, I'll ring Brett and I said, where do you reckon I should go, mate? And he said, oh, try this, try that. And he's spot on.
Well, there you go. There you go.
He has got a diary. He records everything.
Yep.
That goes back 30 years probably.
Right.
And I've often said to him, he records everything. He can catch numbers. He knows exactly how many bream he's caught, what he caught them at, what the tide was, what the weather was like, what the moon phase was. I said, mate, when you die, if you die before me,
yeah,
I want your diary left in your will.
Yep.
It is unbelievable. Man, he catches 1,000 bream a year and so many perch. And it's incredible.
It is. His numbers are quite staggering. And I like his total numbers. I can't remember what he's up to, 25,000 perch or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah. Jack and I have been fishing with him at times, in Gippsland Lakes and the Avon or the Straits or whatever. And, man, he just, I don't know, he's just got it. We're struggling. We think we're doing the same thing as he is, but no. He's got it. He's got the knack.
He does. And he's got the 8 kilo leader and the hard on soft working, mate, and whaling them.
And the homemade bloody vibes. And,
a bit of teabagging.
Yes. Oh, the teabag, that's another story. That does work. That is incredible.
Well, there you go. All right. So winding back to the competition, mate, you ended up with just over 2 kilos. It was enough to put you in second place, not very far behind Simon, mate.
Yeah, 95 grams.
95 grams, mate. Yeah. Anyway, look, still, like we said, a great result. Tell us about second place, mate. What did you get to take home?
I've got a really good Shimano Artiesta rod, 7'2", ultralight, which Mark Healey uses, I think, and with a Pro Power braid with it. And then because of the 41 centimetre I got on the first day, it's a prize pack of X braid and some leader and some jig heads. So, yeah, no, it was fantastic. So,
fantastic. And you would have got the number 2 badge, I take it?
Number 2 badge, which is I never thought I'd ever achieve, mate.
Well, you've done it now.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. All right, mate. Well, look, last thing before you shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Yeah, look, I want to thank my son Jack because we started back Jack was born in 1985. We started fishing for bream on lures in probably the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
We used to do a lot of trips to the Bega River up at Tarthra.
Okay.
And I always thought it was crap, mate. I said, you can't catch bream on lures.
Right.
And Jack bought Bushy and Starlow's first book on how to catch bream on lures.
Yep.
And I was really sceptical. But he's been the one that's pushed me through all these years. He said, nah, do this, do that. And he's unreal. He's a better fisherman than me that I'll ever be.
Mm.
So, yeah, I'd just like to thank Jack for persisting with me over all those years.
Yeah.
And, of course, as you said, Brett's been unbelievable. Brett Jetties, I'd like to thank him for all his knowledge. And, yeah, we just talk about all this crazy stuff that he does and I do. And Scott O'James in Tassie, he's taught me a lot over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, I'd really like to thank my 2 boaters in this tournament, Ian Nielsen and Richard Hadlow. They were unbelievable, mate. I couldn't appreciate more of what they did for me over those 2 days.
Yeah.
They were fantastic. The old saying that ABT, the who shares win. They both shared everything and they gave me every opportunity. And then, I'd just like to thank you, Andrew. This podcast that you do is, I've learned so much over the years. It's just incredible what people's different techniques, different takes on things. You pick up something all the time,
Yeah.
So,
and I appreciate that.
And I'd just like to thank, I'd just like to congratulate Simon on double Gippsland Lakes non-boaters. That's amazing,
Yeah.
He's unbelievable. And I think Allan Morrison, who came third in this comp, just a great result.
Absolutely. All right, mate. Well, look, that was a great interview. Thank you so much for jumping on. Mate, good luck in the rest of the rounds for whatever you get up to.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many I'll do. But anyway, I'm satisfied, mate. So I never thought I'd get in this position. So.
Oh, mate, very good. All right, mate. Well, you have a good afternoon.
All right. Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, mate. Okay, so first up in the non-boating division, we have an angler dropping his 3 fish on the Tuesday for 3 fish for 2.778, backing it up on day 2 with 3 fish for 2.635, giving him a total weight of 5.413 and first place. I'd like to welcome back to the Bream Fishing Project, Mr. Simon Krause. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Thanks, Andrew. It's great to have another chat.
Absolutely. 2 years in a row, same comp. How good's that?
Very good. Very good.
And it was a pretty good double header for you down there. I think from memory, you're 4th in the Malakuta round as well.
Yes, I had an excellent week away and it was great weather and great fishing, and I had exceptional boaters for the whole 2 comps too. So it just made it so much better as well.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, we did have a chat beforehand, and obviously the bag weights were quite different to last year. The really big fish just weren't there in numbers and had different techniques. So I look forward to jumping into that in a minute. Let's go back to the beginning. In terms of pre-fishing, getting ready for the comp, what did you get up to?
Well, I did 10 with one of my mates, David Jewell, 2 weeks prior. So we went down to Meetung and the weather wasn't very friendly. It was gale force winds.
All right.
So we were very, very limited to what we could fish. So on the Saturday, we fished the Tambo River and ended up another system on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday, we started in North Arm and caught nothing up that end of the system.
Wow.
Yeah, but we did catch some good fish on the Sunday just before lunchtime in the mouth of the Nico River, but just no quantities.
Okay.
So, but it was just, the wind was phenomenal that weekend.
Okay. So it really got into it.
Yep.
Okay. And on that particular weekend, were they on a soft plastic bite or a hard body bite?
No, they were all on jackal chubbies that weekend.
Okay. All right.
In very shallow water. So,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's move on to the Friday. Did you get out and have a look around then? Oh, sorry. It must have been the Monday.
Yes, it's very confusing when you fish during the week.
It's very confusing for me.
Yeah, we did have a look around on the Monday. We didn't find a lot of fish, but we found some fish on the flats. So, yeah, certainly didn't find numbers on the Monday.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So on your couple of pre-fishes there, you've got jackal chubbies as an option, and then you found a few on the flats. So, but you didn't, I assume you're not really quite sure what to go with, I take it.
Very much so. So on the pre-fish, I did catch a couple on the Slim Z as well.
Okay.
Slim Z is probably my go-to lure in every system.
Okay.
If I'm finding it hard to catch fish, I'll always put a Slim Z on. So, yes.
Okay. And what's your go-to colour there?
Either blood oil or... So I've got a bit of a mental blank here.
That's right.
Motor oil.
The motor oil. Okay.
Motor oil.
Okay. So similar sorts of colours, both high UV.
Yep. One's got a little bit of a fleck in it. That's the only difference.
Yeah. Okay. So, and just so we're clear, are we talking about a slim swim?
Slim swim. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
2.5 inch. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. That's one of the lures I used a long time ago, but seemed to have faded away from. And I think I need to go back there.
I've got packets of them.
Very good. Very good. So let's go into comp day. Tell us about day one. Who'd you get paired up with and how'd your day go?
So I got paired up with Peter Bruckle day one.
Okay.
Very, very good fisherman. I learned a lot off Peter because he spent considerable time scanning for the fish.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't find fish early in the morning. So we didn't actually do a lot of casting until around 9 a.m. So didn't find fish out on the flats at all. He headed into the Mitchell River.
Uh-huh.
And we were probably midway up the Mitchell River where we fished on day one.
Okay.
And the very first bank he pulled up on, he caught a couple of fish there. Then we moved up a little bit higher and found fish up higher as well.
Right. Okay. So just to make sure I got the picture right. So you basically scan around for a couple of hours. And then when you've reached, obviously seen something on the sonar and pulled up, and he's been able to catch a couple of fish.
Yeah. So he had a good pre-fish, I believe. So, and he knew where the fish were in the river. So that builds a lot of confidence when you've got a boater that knows where the fish are.
Sure.
And then you've got to work out how to catch them. So he was fishing, I believe, a hurricane sprat.
Yep.
And I obviously fishing the banks, I like to fish the slim swims, and that's what I started off with. So
okay. Let's have a look at your slim swims, because last time we spoke last year, you were on dunks. Now you're on slim swims. What sort of jig head are you running in those?
I use the atomic arrows.
The Seekers?
Yes, and I rig weedless.
Okay.
So I rig weedless because when I'm fishing off the back of the boat, the old saying, you don't catch fish unless the lure's in the water.
Yeah.
And I tend to find if I rig weedless, I will cast into the snags.
Okay.
And you can also feel the lure coming over the tree branches and the logs on the bottom of the river and so forth.
Yeah.
So you don't get snagged up as much. So obviously you spend more time fishing rather than tying on jig heads.
Yeah. And to explain that, you have to tell me if I've got this right. Basically, you push the hook through the nose and out the bottom of the lure, and then turn it back up through out the top of the lure, but only just a little bit. You basically sit it more or less flush.
Yeah. So with the 1/16 number 2 hooks, the Slim Z is actually, it fills the whole gape of the hook.
Really? Wow.
So it just sits on top.
Yep.
But when you might miss a few small fish.
Yeah.
But when the bigger fish bite down on it, you hook them every time.
Okay. Interesting. Very, very cool. Okay. And the advantage of that is, like you said, you're on the back of the boat, you need your lure in the water, so you're not getting hung up and busting off or being worried about casting in.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So tell me, once you started fishing, how'd you go about getting some?
So I did notice Peter wasn't casting tight into the bank. He caught the first couple of fish, and I'm not best on the cast, but it didn't seem to matter if you were casting tied into the weed beds or the structure. All the hits that I was getting was sort of that first 4, 6, sometimes a bit more off the feet off the bank. So you were getting the bites in that 1.5 to 1.8 metres of water.
Okay.
So that's quite deep.
Yeah.
So that was very, very different. I have experienced that previously, but yeah, to cast from the back of the boat, because you cast in square in, Peter actually sat quite a distance out off the bank. So it gave you a great opportunity to have a cast as well. And you could actually work that lure out quite a bit. So, yeah, and once I worked out the fish weren't tight, you sort of prepared a bit more then to hop it a bit further, expecting the bite rather than casting and go 1 or 2 hops and go, well, there's nothing there.
Absolutely. And with that weedless presentation, you're also not scared to bounce it along the bottom and continue to do that. You're not worried about it touching down, rolling over and hooking up.
Correct. For the whole day, I broke off once.
Okay. All right.
So That was
Yeah.
on day one, yes.
Yeah, and I do like I was surprised to hear you say the number 2 being the smaller hook, but it makes sense. Like you said, you'll miss the smaller fish, but the bigger fish are probably going to get it properly.
Yes, so you get that real tick in the line,
Yeah.
which I think is when they turn, and when they crunch down on it, you'll hook them 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. Okay.
So the odd fish you miss, I sort of look at it and go, well, I wouldn't have had that bite if I hadn't have cast in there anyhow.
That's right. And if you're retying a lure because you'd busted off, well, that would have been the same result.
Yeah, and also if you get snagged up on the rocks, the old bow and arrow flick,
Oh, yeah.
the plastic will slide back on the hook, and 9 times out of 10 come off as well.
Okay.
That's what I find, yes.
Yeah, very good. All right. Tell me about the fish that you ended up with in your bag. How did you, were they all on the slim swims?
No, I ended up with, I had three good fish.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a couple of upgrades during the day.
Yeah.
And then we stopped it on a flat on the way back where we found a few fish. And I got one there that was an upgrade, which come on a jackal chubby. So,
right.
Yeah. So, and that was only a small upgrade too. So, bag on day one, I believe, was a little bit bigger than day 2.
Yeah, 2778.
Yeah.
Which had you, yeah. And if you only won by under 100 grams, so 95 grams. So one little upgrade might have been the difference.
Yes. So, but the majority of the fish definitely come on the slims there. And we caught a lot of fish on day one.
Yeah, right.
So sort of from your 20, I think my smallest fish for the day was 23 or something like that.
Sure.
So, yeah, it's quite good when you get a few upgrades during the day.
Definitely. And with your you said you've seen the tick in the line. What sort of leader are you running? What sort of braid are you running?
So I believe it was the X braid that I won last year.
Nice.
Which I think is £8.
£8 in the orange or?
Yeah, no, in the green.
In the green, yep.
Chartreuse. And then I run the Harris Fighter leader I was using £4 on the weekend.
Okay, so still pretty light.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Very, very rarely fish anything heavier than £4.
Okay. Did you bust any fish off on day one?
No, I never lost a fish on day one.
Okay. So your bag was what you got.
Yeah, very good.
Very good. All right, so I can't tell. Based on the leaderboard, I probably had you down at 5th or 6th, maybe?
4th.
4th.
Oh, no, 5th. 5th on day one, sorry, yes.
Yeah, 5th. So within striking distance, obviously.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, let's go out on the Wednesday. Tell us about who you got paired with and how that day played out.
So I got paired with Cam Whittam for day 2.
Yep.
So he's also a Victorian, champion bike caster, and a terrific bloke to boot. So got paired with Cam on day 2 when we were waiting for the start. He said to me, I can't win this today, but he said, you can. So right from day 1, from the get-go, he was willing to help me.
Wow.
Yeah, that was just amazing in itself.
Absolutely.
Certainly gives you a bit of confidence.
Yeah, that's very, very good, is all I can say. And especially with someone of Cam's, he's been around and he's won a lot of stuff, to have him help you out is such a good thing.
Oh, it was.
So, yeah. All right. Tell us about what you got up to.
Yeah, so we started off on the flats outside the Mitchell. We didn't do a lot of good out there, and there wasn't a lot of fish out there. Couldn't see them on the side scan. It was only shallow water. We then tried the channel markers. We fished that for a short period of time and then headed into the Tambo River. So total opposite river of day 1.
Yeah.
And pulled up in the Tambo River, and you could clearly see the fish on the side scan.
Right. Okay.
So Cam runs all Hummingbird electronics.
Mm-hmm.
So you could see the fish on the side scan, and Cam likes to fish over the top of the the fish, which is very different from how I normally fish. So he fishes in close to the bank.
Okay.
And the fish was sitting out a bit wider. So what he did is he sat in very close to the bank so he could get a cast in, and also enabled me to be able to cast from the back of the boat.
Okay, so let me just get a picture of that. So you're in close to the bank, Cam's casting up parallel to the bank.
Yep.
And then you're casting anywhere sort of out to the side.
Yeah, but I was still casting forward.
Okay.
So you're getting quite good long casting, which enabled you to work the lure.
Okay.
Which was very good. And again, that was the slim swims.
Yeah, nice. And you said that you were using, I think, was it motor oil and blood oil typically?
Yep.
What's your sort of trigger to use one over the other?
Generally, I'll use motor oil.
Mm-hmm.
And if the water's a bit clearer, I just like that little bit of a flat in the blood oil. So on day 2, I fish motor oil all day.
Yeah, right. With your jig heads, do you mix up the weights at all?
I didn't on the day.
Yeah.
So it started off, there wasn't a lot of wind.
Yeah.
There was very little wind. We actually fished into the wind for the first sort of hour and a half in the Tambo.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were heading upriver, fishing into the wind. There wasn't a lot of wind.
Yeah.
I actually got my bag basically within that hour.
Okay.
First hour.
Awesome.
And caught more fish after that, but just no upgrades.
Yeah.
And then the wind turned 180 degrees.
Okay.
And totally shut down.
Right.
So just nothing. We moved up and down the bank, had a try on the other side, but it just went dead.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, then Cam picked up a couple later in the day, but it was just incredible the difference that wind made.
Yeah, wow. So they shut down.
Yes. And then for the last, I think we got to about 1:45, so we had a 2:30 check-in.
Oh, yeah.
And a flight time, and the last half hour he said, let's do something different and go out on the flats.
Okay.
So we packed up and went out on the flats. So he caught a couple out on the flats and very shallow water, and I was throwing a jackal chubby out there in a deep diver and got snagged up. Then I changed to a mid diver and a suspending and got snagged up again.
Okay.
So I broke a couple of them off. Is what it is. And then we moved to the very last spot and first cast with the jackal chubby, and I snagged up and broke it off.
Oh.
And at this time it's 2:13. And I look at the clock and I'm going, won't I tie another one on?
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's 2:13. I got 2 minutes.
Okay.
I tied another one on at 2:13. First cast, hooked up.
Okay.
And I actually thought I was snagged, and that was an upgrade.
Oh, wow.
And it was only 1 centimetre.
Yep.
But it was still an upgrade. And we got that fish in the net at 2:15, and then we headed back from there.
Wow.
So the old last cast. And it was exciting stuff. So, yeah, I actually thought I was snagged again.
Right. Okay, because it was solid black or whatever it was.
Oh,
that's crazy.
It was. And that was probably the excitement for the day for me. It was like you could have just sat back and said, I've had my day.
Yeah, I'm done.
Just tying that lure on, having one cast, mightn't have made a lot of difference, but it still made a difference.
100%. I mean, 1 centimetre.
Yep.
You probably still would have won, I think.
Yep.
But still, I'd take the upgrade.
Yeah, and that fish went hard too. Like it had some go. They were incredible all weekend, or all week actually. The fish just fought so much better than what they normally do in Gippsland.
Yeah, I think the fish have moods, and sometimes they're just angry.
Yeah. So no, that was great. And then we headed back from there. So
I have one question with your slim swims. So if we picture you fishing with Cam and you're casting sort of diagonally forward, what's your goal there with the lure? Are you just trying to bounce it slowly along the bottom, or how's that look?
Yeah, so I try to move it no more than about 4 to 6 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very small hop. So it's almost like you're jerk baiting it along the bottom.
Okay.
And then every now and then I'll give it a bit of a lift. So trying to stay as close to the bottom as I possibly can.
Yeah. When you say you're jerking it, are you giving that a decent sort of whack, or is it just a subtle lift?
No, it's more like shaking the rod tip. So when you lift, there is a little bit of lift there, but it's very short.
Yeah.
And you might give it 2 or 3 shakes and then stop, wait for it to hit the bottom again, and then do it again.
Yeah. I mean, what I liked about, and maybe not in that exact situation, the fact that you're fishing a weedless setup from the back of the boat, which is, not your optimal position on the boat. I think it probably just opens up so much more water to you. And like you said, keeping your lure in the water more often.
Yes.
I think that's got to account for something.
Oh, 100%.
Very, very good. All right. So, mate, you had 2.635 on day 2, sorry. Had you checked the app? Did you see where you were at?
No, I hadn't. Cam actually said to me when we got back to the boat room, he said, I think you've won this. It was when I dropped my card off that, I sort of realised that I'd actually done it. So the aim was to get a top 10.
Yeah, wow. Smashed it.
So, I couldn't have asked for more.
All right, mate. Well, that's a cracking event. Tell me, with this one, what did you get to take home for first place?
So first place was Daiwa Bait Chunky Pack. So there were 2 of those. And a 2026 Daiwa Soul Reel.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
We had great prize pack.
100%.
It'll all get used, yes.
Very, very good. All right. Well, mate, you would have got the first place badge as well, I'd imagine.
Yes, got that as well, yes.
Very, very good.
And a trophy,
right.
obviously, yeah.
And a trophy. Yeah, so, mate, you got it all.
Yeah.
How good. All right, mate, last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Oh, definitely got to say thank you to the 2 boaters I had, which was Pete Brickle and Cam Wynnum. They were both terrific to fish with. They both chatted all day. We couldn't ask for a better situation. It's what fishing is about. And then to the 2 guys I travelled with, David Buell and Tony Kerwin. Without them, I couldn't do this because it's just too cost prohibitive.
Sure.
So it's great to be able to do that. My wife for the leave pass for the week. So, and then to Steve and Nicole and the ABT team. So it's just a well-run event and everybody is very, very friendly there. So couldn't be happier with joining the ABT.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, mate. Well, look, congratulations for your second win. 2 years in a row at the same venue, which I think is awesome. And, mate, I hope we get to catch up later in the season.
I certainly do too.
All right, thank you. All right, so coming in third place in the boating division, we have an angler dropping his 5 fish for 5.925 on day 1, backing it up on day 2 with 5 fish for 5.479, giving him a total of 11.404 kilos. And third place, I have Mario Vukic. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Pleased to be back.
Mate, first comp for the year. Here we are.
Yeah, that's it. It's always good when I'm on this podcast.
That means you've done something right. All right, mate. Tell us about this one. So, mate, Gippsland Lakes, have you been down there? You must have a bit of a look around, have a bit of a pre-fish.
No, I haven't this year. Normally I do, but it's a bit close to the school, well, the end of the school holidays. We normally, over Christmas time, go to Malakuta, actually. So to get back, and it really didn't sort of marry up for me to go and have a pre-fish. But, look, I've been fishing it for 15 years. This time of the year, you generally know there's some spots that normally fish well, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So then in terms of the pre-fish, how did you use that? What was your goal on pre-fish day?
I wanted to fish Holland's Landing because it just suits my style, and I just love fishing at Holland's. And I don't really fish outside Holland's with hardbodies, which a lot of people do. I actually fish in the straits with, on the snags with plastics, and that's what I do. And actually on the way up from Melbourne on the Sunday before the Monday pre-fish, we dropped in to have a look at the water, because water clarity is everything at Holland's. Because it joins 2 rivers, if the water's no good, I mean, fishing when it's dirty, it doesn't fish all that great. And we went there, and I think that day it was blowing like 30 knots. And I looked at the water; it looked good. You could see down about a foot. So I thought, yeah, I'll come here and I'll try me luck. I haven't heard any reports or anything, but because I just like it, I just went there first up. So I went there on the first morning of the pre-fish, and because it blew 30 knots, both sort of sides of the straits connects the two lakes, sort of like shallow basins, and it sort of muddied up the water. And with the tide, everything changed. It was all dirty, everything. So we fished it and didn't catch a thing for the first hour and a half, and I wasn't feeling it. So I said, "Nah, let's go." So we pulled the boat out and went to Painesville and had a sniff around Painesville, and I could see some fish, but not as much as I'd like to see. So there's fish on a few poles, but you really sort of need 2 or 3 on every pole, and then it'll fish well. So we fished that and didn't do any good. And then we fished the lake a bit, some shallow reefs and points and all that sort of stuff, some sand flats. And at 1 o'clock, I didn't have a fish of the pre-fish. And so I did hear a whisper that they were catching fish at the mouth of the Tambo, but I didn't really need to pre-fish it. So I thought to myself, what am I going to do? I'll have a look in the Mitchell, because I like fishing the Mitchell, and again that suits my style, throwing to the rock edges. And I was pre-fishing with Mikey, my son, and he threw to an edge and clunked like it was a 40 forker. And I thought, oh, that's nice. And then 5 minutes later, I caught a 36 fork. I said, let's go. I said, well, we got one plan. That was it. We're going to fish the Mitchell, and if that doesn't go any good, we're going to fish for luck.
Okay. Well, let's run round to comp day. So I think it was the Tuesday. Tell us about how that started for you. How'd you go about finding a fish?
Well, went to the Mitchell and put the Livescope in the water exactly where we caught them, and it was a barren wasteland.
Oh.
Nothing there.
No,
absolutely nothing. And the day before, there was stuff there.
Oh, wow.
And so I fished it for about, I don't know, maybe half an hour, and it didn't look great. So I thought, oh, well, I'm going to go on a fantasy tour.
Okay.
So I went and fished Painesville and didn't get a touch there. And it got to about 9:30 and I had nothing. So then I went to the mouth of Duck Arm, and you could always scab up a 3.5 kilo bag. And I thought, oh, well, I've got to put something in the boat, get a bit of confidence. So I went to the mouth of the Duck Arm and fished an edge, nothing. And my old mate, a local guy there, he's got this vibe spot around Point Turner, and no one ever fishes it. But it's quite a steep drop off a weedy. And they sometimes school right on the point there. And I went in there and I dropped the Livescope in there, and there was nothing there. So we're at 10:30 and I haven't got a fish. So I said, well, I better go to the mouth of the Tambo and check that out. Okay. I went to the mouth of the Tambo, and there was a cast of thousands there. There must have been 20 boats on either side.
Yeah, wow.
The snags, where the snags are, but more so in between them and around them, not actually on the snags.
Yep.
Anyway, I put the Livescope in there and it was loaded, but it looked like there were a lot of small fish.
Sure.
So I fished there for about an hour and a half and got 5, but I was like 2.5 kilos. And I thought, well, yeah. And I had a 2 o'clock key tag check-in. I thought, well, I better go and try and hunt for something big. And it sort of coincided with the time. It sort of coincided with the time that we caught him in the Mitchell. It was a little bit early, but I thought I'm going to go back and drop the Livescope in and see what's going on.
Yeah.
So I went back and I sounded it, and I noticed that there was the odd fish and stuff on the side imaging. So I started getting a bit of confidence, put the Livescope in. Wasn't loaded, but you could tell that there was fish there and they looked like the right fish.
Right.
Yeah.
So time of day was the same. What was the tide doing? Do you know when the peaks were?
Yeah, it was starting to pump out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it was starting to run out quite a nice tide, So in the morning, it was actually sort of a bit slack or running in, if anything. But then it was sort of pumping out nicely.
Okay.
So anyway, I threw to the edge, and the rest is history. I just started catching some nice ones. I lost a really nice one first up at the boat, which made my heart sink. But anyway, that happens. I'm glad I didn't drop my bundle. And
Yep.
picked up in the next sort of till about 1:30. Not basically, the whole lot, 5.9 kilos there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm looking at your fish, the size of the fish there. None of that 2.5 kilo bag could be there. So, and when you're at the Tambo, what were you running? Plastics?
Yep. Most people were running hard bodies or something else. I was running just plastics, blood wrigglers.
Okay.
Yep, the smaller one, the 80 mil.
The 80 mil. And then the same when you went up to fish the Mitchell, same tactic?
Yeah, but the bigger one, the 100 mil.
100 mil. Okay.
Bait junkie, wave minnow with bloodworm.
Okay. So similar. I can't remember what your go-to is. Are you sort of braid leader?
Yes, braid leader. So 3 pound leader.
Okay. So light.
Yeah, light.
Light.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
Unless they sort of get you right in on the rocks on the snags and all that, generally it's pretty open there. They normally swim out into the middle. So it's not like Hollands where you're in 8, 10, 12 pound leaders. You're fishing quite light.
Yeah, okay. Okay, it makes for a good fight too. You can let them run and do what they have to do.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and how'd your non-boater go through this?
Yeah, he did okay. He caught his bag at the mouth of the Tambo, and he upgraded a couple of times. Yeah, with nice like 34, 35 full fish. Yeah, so he did quite well.
He did all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Colin Wilson. Yeah, quite an experienced older non-boater. Very, very good to fish with. It was great.
Very, very good. All right. And apart from, you said you dropped a decent one when you first went up the Mitchell. Did you drop any others throughout the day? Did you lose anything else?
Maybe at the strike, but not that I saw. But who knows? I had a pretty good day.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, it had a good day, but you also had to work for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when we get on the next day, things are totally different again.
Right. All right. Well, you came back with just under 6 kilos. Where'd that have you overnight?
I think third.
Third?
Yeah.
All right. Tell us about day 2, mate. How'd that play out for you?
Well, I needed something to do for 5 hours.
Yeah, right. You need to wait for that tide to push.
I had to, yeah. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't going to go to the Tambo. So I thought, I was trying to analyse those fish in the Mitchell, what they might be doing beforehand.
Sure.
So I thought to myself, I don't think they're out on the reefs and the flats outside the Mitchell, like the Mitchell Reef or the points. Because no one was catching good fish there during the day. So I thought, well, they must be coming from upstream. So basically what I did is I just side imaged as far, but the plan was just a side image until I found the right amount of fish that looked similar, and I'd fish that. So
how'd that play out?
Not great. I got about almost to the cut, a little bit before the cut, and Peter Bruegel was sort of on his way up there as well. And he generously shared some information. He said to me, they're all over your favourite bank. I said, what, up the grassy banks, which is quite high up in the Mitchell? He goes, yeah, we fished it yesterday and there's fish everywhere. I said, well, that's good enough for me. So at this point in time, it was like 20 past 8 and I hadn't even started fishing. Yeah. Pete pulled over to where he was fishing, and I didn't want to really go anywhere near him. So I kept going upstream and put the Livescope on, and there was a few good fish kicking around, and managed to catch a bag quite early, and I was surprised. I was sort of hoping they'd be like 32, 33, 34 forkers, which they were, but there was the odd big one mixed in with them as well. So, I sort of got, some like 30, I think 35 and a half or 36 and maybe a 37, something like that, while I was up there, which I was pretty happy. And 10 o'clock, I said, or 10:30,
Yeah.
I said, oh, well, I'm coming. I'm going to go back down, and because takes a long time at 5 knots to get back to the mouth. Got to go and, see how this spot's going, see if I can upgrade there, because I still had a few sort of 33 or 34 centimetre fish in my bag. Yeah, so I went all the way back down. It was about 11:30, 11 o'clock, 11:30, and it was a bit slow. But as I did a first drift, I think I caught like a 25 centimetre fish or something like that. I did notice when I went back up to do it again that there was a few more fish on it. So they were starting to form in that area. And it wasn't as good as the day before, but I managed to get a couple of, upgrades there. Not the big ones, but something like a, 37 sort of caliber fork fish. And I didn't get quite as good a bag as the first day, but it was still good nonetheless.
Absolutely. And it seems that as that tide pushed, that they were riding that down from wherever they were.
They must be. Yeah, and I don't know why they stopped there, but they did.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so you managed to bag out. You got your fish back in that same spot, and you were saying it was thanks to Mikey that you kind of found him.
Yeah. Well, on the pre-fish day, he caught that first one. Even though we could sort of see him there, we didn't know the caliber, because when they're sort of, that's the only thing that you got to check out. You might know that they're there, but they were the right ones.
And throughout the couple of days, how was the bite? Were they just plucking it? Were they smashing it, or was it anything?
Some of it was like, I think on day one I got like a 40 and a half forker that like was like a mosquito touched the lure, and I launched into it because it was a tick, but I didn't expect it to be like that. So they weren't absolutely smashing it; they were like sucking it in. To be honest with you, up the river they were dunking it. Down the river they weren't; they were just sucking it in.
Okay. Was there any sort of bait fish in the water? Any indications as to why that would be?
I did catch a little glassy there on the jig head, but I mean I'm being blood reckless, nothing to do. But maybe that's what they're there to do, to feed. Like just because they're feeding on glassies, whatever gets put in front of them, they're feeding. They've eaten plenty of worms or crabs or shrimps before. They know what they look like.
All right. I reckon that covers it pretty well. Tell us with that one, for third place, mate, what do you get to take home?
I think it's like 1,500 plus the Mercury bonuses or stuff like that. So I think they bumped it up to about 1,625, which was quite nice.
Absolutely. All right, mate. Well, look, last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Obviously the ABT, Steve and Nicole. They run a great tournament. And my non-boaters, Cole Wilson and Shelley Travers, fantastic to fish with, great atmosphere on the boat. And just the people that I stay with and travel partners and stuff like that, Mikey and Mark Hayes and Rob Warren, those sort of guys, yeah.
That's right. Fantastic, mate. Look, as always, mate, absolutely brilliant to speak to you. Thanks again for coming on. I'm sure I'll be talking to you in a couple of minutes for the next one.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, mate. Okay, so coming in second in the boating division, I have an angler dropping 5 fish for 6.743, backing it up on the Wednesday with 5 fish for 5.409, giving him a total of 12.152. And second place, I have Mark Healey. Mate, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, Andrew.
Mate, Gippsland Lakes been good to you again.
Yeah. I've quite enjoyed the last couple of southern legs down there the last few years, and wasn't overly successful with Gippslands last year, but managed to come back and get a second place this year, which I'm stoked about.
100%. And even last year, I think you were still top 10, so it wasn't horrible.
No, it could have been worse, that's for sure.
100%. All right, so with this one, mate, you won 2 years ago. You had a reasonable result last year. What were you thinking in terms of fishing? Were you thinking crabs or where was your head at?
Yeah, I think the idea, it's such a hard place to pre-fish Gippsland Lakes because it's so vast. So the challenge for me, someone who only fishes it once a year, is to try and, I guess, cover as much water as I can on pre-fish day. And that's It's easier said than done, and you can't fish everywhere in Gippsland Lakes in one day. It's just too vast, too big a system. So historically, it's not normally one up the rivers this time of year. So what I do is I discount the rivers. I go, okay, let's have a look at the lakes. Let's have a look at the open water and see if I can find concentrations of fish or areas of fish, whether they be at the mouth of a river system or on docks or jetties or up at Holland's Landing or wherever they might be, and just try and find like numbers of fish. And then maybe sort of come tournament time, you can refine that and focus and sort of pick it apart a little bit more comprehensively and find those bigger fish.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And in terms of pre-fish, how'd you go? Did you get it? Did you find some?
No, sucked ass. Absolutely terrible. I think it was on the water just after sun up, and I spent a couple of hours up at Holland's because I had done well there in years past. And yeah, I sort of like last year, I stung myself a little bit. I was like, oh, I got to find them. I got to find them. And I spent like half the day up there, and I didn't find them. And ultimately, other people were catching them up there. And I think the tournament was won up there. But even that area itself, it's such a vast area. Like you could miss them by 200 meters on a bank and completely just come up empty handed. So I didn't want to get caught or stuck in that pattern that I did last year. So this year I was like, righto, I'm giving myself a 2 hour window. I'm going to pre-fish that for 2 hours, and I'm going to put the boat back on the trailer, and I'm going to drive to Paynesville. And then I had like a milk run of areas that I sort of wrote down in advance and thought, oh, I'm going to hit all these spots and, spend half an hour, 20 minutes at each area and no longer to try and make sure I covered as much water on pre-fish day as I could. So even if I was to find fish, the idea was to not stay there too long. Just go, all right, identify there's fish in this area, tick, move on. At the end of the day, unfortunately, we only found maybe a handful of fish between us. Found quite a few fish at the mouth of the Tambo, but we only managed to get one reasonable size fish and the rest was small. So I was like, I've got a backup spot there. I hit a couple of jetties and I was like a 33 and a 34, which were my two best fish for the day, and not big by any means for Gippsland standards. But I was like, all right, well, I only fished a couple of jetties and I caught a couple of fish on crabs, and that's my thing. It's a confidence technique for me, and it's done me well in the past. And I was like, I don't have much else, so I'm just going to go and do that. I'm going to start on jetties, throw crabs at jetties for like 3 hours, and then I'm going to reassess,
Yeah.
see what the weather's doing, see what my bag weight is, if I have a bag, and just sort of play it by ear. So other than really a starting location, I didn't have much else derived from that pre-fish day.
Yeah, but it seems to me that while you didn't have a lot of spots, you probably ruled a lot out. Like it's a massive place, and you're like, okay, so much. I don't do.
100%, 100%. I think like from a tournament angling perspective, I think that's just as important is ruling places out as ruling places in. Obviously, you need to find some fish or some places that hold fish to give you a start. But I'm a lot of my successful events, I've had really poor pre-fishes, and I think we spoke about it before. And what that does is go, all right, well, you got nothing else. Go and do this one thing, but do it bloody well.
Yeah.
You really slow down and go, I've got nothing else, so I'm going to like really pick this apart. And I think sometimes, especially when you're fishing for black brim, you can sit on them and you can work it slower and you can really pick it apart. I think sometimes that is that difference.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Now, the thing that, like I said, two things I took from that is one, you've ruled out a bunch of space and then play to your strengths, basically. Just go and fish the things that you're good at.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Let's roll around to comp day, to the Tuesday morning. Tell us how your day went. How'd you go about putting a bag together?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know what to expect. I only sort of fished a couple of docks on the first day, so I was like pretty unsure on how I'd go and the size of the fish that were there. But I think my first fish might have been, I think I had a smaller fish, maybe low 30s to start with. And then from there, I think I managed like a 39.
Okay.
Within an hour or two, I had like a 40 and a half as well off memory. So within the first few hours, I had like 3 or 4 fish and I had at least two really nice fish in my bag. So knowing that every other places or everywhere else I had been on pre-fish day, I couldn't find them or I couldn't get them to bite or wasn't fishing well as far as I could tell. So I was like, by sort of mid-morning, I kind of made the commitment that I'm going to stay here all day and just grind it out and work and just keep rotating through different jetties and docks and pontoons and that, just trying to find those bigger bites. And although I didn't catch a lot of fish that day, the size of the fish were more than what I expected, well and truly in excess of what I expected to catch in those areas.
Yeah, and did you find the fish were high on the structure, or how did you find them?
No, I think most of the fish actually bit on the. So I fished crabs all day. I fished crabs all event. So that was something that I found on pre-fish day. I threw crabs, got 2 fish on jetties, and I'm like, right, I'm going to throw them. So I tied on an olive crab, and I was throwing that in. And I think I had like multiple robs with the exact same lure tied on. So if I busted up or got dusted, I could just pick up another one and cast straight back in. And what I did find, and I noticed because it was so still, is that the fish weren't actually eating it on the drop. I think when it's windy and there's sort of a lot of cover and heavy tidal flow and that, sometimes the fish are a bit more aggressive and they'll actually eat the crab as soon as it lands or on the way down. But I found most of the fish over the 2 days were actually picking it up off the bottom. So you did have to be patient.
Yeah, right. I mean, to be fair, that surprised me. It wasn't what I thought you were going to say. But yeah, okay. So tell me then, so if you're fishing, let's say the bottom of the structure, what size leader were you running for the comp?
I just fixed 6-pound Osha leader the whole time on 6-pound creaky braid. So I was fishing a bit of a heavier rod than normal. I was fishing the Poison Air Dreener, which is it's like a 6'10" ultralight, medium light. It's got a radical taper, so it's really light in the end, so you can sort of flick those crabs in under the jetties, but it's got plenty of sort of pulling power and butt section to, when you do hook those 40-centimetre brim, you can really lean on them and pull them out. So
I've not heard of that rod. Where's that out of? Is that out of Shimano?
Yeah, it's a Shimano stable, so it's a Jackal and Shimano collaborative.
Sure.
They've been around for years. It's sort of more of a high-end rod.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really, really brilliant range of rods. They've got various sort of actions and sizes, but I like them for sort of more shorter work. So whether it's skip casting, they're really good with plastics because of the actions, or in this case, like flicking crabs in under jetties.
Nice. And before we move off on the Tuesday, did you drop any? Did you lose any fish?
I did. I lost maybe 1 or 2. I got roasted a couple of times, but it's very hard when you're fishing so close and so tight to structure like that. And the fish, because they were picking it up off the bottom, so I was fishing a very, let's say, slack line. So a lot of the time I'd lift up and the fish had already sort of picked up the crab and started to swim away. And if they've started to swim towards or swim out, generally you're going to land that fish. But if they've picked it up and they've swam a foot to the left and they've gone behind a pylon, often by the time you load up, it's game over. So I did lose a few fish without fully loading up on them. It's very hard to tell whether they would have affected my bag weight, but in any case, I was more than happy with what I weighed that first day. I was very surprised, actually.
That was a really good bag for the day. So that have you in second overnight?
Yep. Yeah, second, I think. Yep, to Pryke. Yep.
Second to Pryke by about 4. That's 450 grams. Or 350 grams. Well, there you go. All right. Day 2. Day 2, a slightly smaller bag. Tell us about how day 2 played out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was probably because of the pressure too. Like, obviously, I'd fished that area. There was probably an increased number of boats in that area on day 2 as well. Again, really still conditions. And I think the fish had sort of just started to wise up that little bit. I wouldn't say I caught less in the way of numbers, but certainly the size of the fish was down. In saying that, I still got some key bites. I just didn't get many of those 40-centimetre models that I got. I was lucky to land on that first day, I guess.
Yeah, okay. And I assume it was the same sort of thing. I'd imagine they were pretty much on the bottom of the structure again for you?
Yeah, I fished it. It was a rinse and repeat. So I pretty much did the exact same milk run, fished the same docks, the same way, the same lures, the same line, rod, leaders, crabs, everything was identical. So after getting a bag like that on the first day, I didn't want to go out and sort of change too much and mix it up unless I was forced to. And I still felt like I was getting enough bites. It was just the size of the fish were probably not as good as they were on the first day. And that could have just been through the pressure over the 2 or 3 days. And, the amount of boats in that area just sort of peppering that structure.
100%. But I mean, your fish, they look like they're all very similar or pretty similar. You had 35 and a half, 35 and a half.
Yeah.
36, 37, 39.
Yep.
So, mate, they were a pretty consistent run of fish, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, like I said, I'm not complaining with fish like that. After the pre-fish I had, I was very surprised with both days and the caliber of fish I ended up catching. So, like I said, I didn't have much to go off, so I just sort of stuck to my strengths. And when you don't have a lot to go off and you decide to lock in and focus on one particular thing, I think sometimes that can, if it's going to work, it will work, and you just got to keep chipping away and never give up.
Yeah, fair enough. And in terms of fishing docks and pontoons and that sort of stuff, are you the type of angler that if you throw a cast and it's not close enough, you just rip it back and go again?
100%. And I feel like those fish were so tight. It was so still. It was so sunny, bright skies, no wind. It's glassed out. I feel like if you didn't get it within sort of 4 or 5 inches of where you wanted to land the lure, you weren't going to get that bite. And I do feel like you needed to get it right on their nose.
Yeah.
So, like, there was multiple times where, and I hadn't fished for brim since I think the Tweed last year. So it'd be like something like 5 months since I
Yeah, right.
picked up a brim rod. So I was quite a little bit rusty with my casting, and non-boaters can testify to that. But if I didn't get a cast in the right spot, I just wound it in and tried again. And if it didn't work, I tried again and again and again until I was happy that I'd sort of ended up with that lure exactly where I wanted it to go. And if that was skipped 10 foot up the back of a pontoon right next to a pole and a dark crevice, that's where it needed to go.
Yeah. And I think like you're using the small size crabs.
I sort of mixed it up a little bit. Just like if it was a really shallow jetty, I'd fish the lighter ones. But if there was on the deeper poles and the more tidal areas, I was fishing the heavier crab. But yeah, all in the smaller size. I didn't upgrade to the bigger size just because it was such a timid bite, especially on that second day.
Okay. The reason I asked the question is I think the bigger crab, the bigger size skips better.
Yeah, it can, but it falls differently and it draws differently through the water as well. So I just think from the way the fish were feeding, and especially on that second day, that bite, it did deteriorate and it wasn't as an aggressive bite. So I really had to let the fish eat it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you just take the line up, you just take the line and go, well, there's a fish on that, but I'm not even going to wind it yet because I hadn't actually started to commit to the bait. So they actually had it in their mouth. You could feel there was resistance, but if you struck or tried to wind on hard, more often than not, you just pull it away. So you almost had to let them sort of, start to digest it in a way.
Yeah. They need to hook themselves.
Exactly. So that's how timid a bite it was, and I could just feel them grinding at times, just on the trebles and on that shell of that crab. But they weren't plucking it in. They weren't, when you get a real good crab bite, they just go like clunk and they just jolt it, and you can feel it through your arm and into your shoulder. It certainly wasn't like that. It was very subtle, was the way I'd explain it, and you just had to fish it very, very slow and be patient.
Yeah, very, very good. All right, mate. Well, obviously a great result. Before we move off the fishing, what's your favourite reel at the moment?
Well, I fished just matched up to the Poison Andrina. I fished the Vanford 2,500 high gear.
Mm-hmm.
Reason being is just for line retrieval. The retrieval on that reel is unbelievable. Something like 90 something centimetres per turn or something. So you're retrieving a lot of line back in a short period of time, being a high gear 2,500. And obviously you just want to match that up to a structure rod when you're fishing there. And it just gives you the best chance of getting those fish away and getting their head away from that structure early. And then once you've got them away, you can sort of back it off and play them out a little bit. But, you can't do that if they get in the first 2 seconds. So that was pretty much what I used fishing all the docks and that in Gippy was the 2,500 high gear Vanford.
Vanford, very, very nice. All right, very cool, mate. All right, well, for this one, coming in second place, what did you get to take home?
I think it was about $2,000 cash. Yeah, so it certainly covered the week, well, that event anyway, and paid for a bit of fuel money on the pre-fish day. But yeah, no, it was a great event. It's always good getting down there and catching up with a lot of Victorian people that fish the events that I only get to see once a year.
Yeah, perfect. All right, mate, last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Yeah, I mean, just like, especially for this event, just using all the Shimano products that that everyone knows that I use. and Cranka Crabs. Like I didn't throw another lure for the whole 2 days. I just I just put an olive crab on and just stuck with that, and that's all I threw for 2 days. So, I had other rods in the locker with other lures tied on, but I just didn't have that confidence that they would catch as good as the crab. So in that environment, that circumstance, so I stuck to what I'm confident with, and it worked at the end of the day. So obviously, huge thanks to Steersy and for making an amazing product that it's won me heaps of tournaments, and no doubt it'll win many more tournaments for many more people for years to come.
Absolutely fantastic. And mate, is there anyone else you want to give a shout out to before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to thank Lawrence. Obviously, I use the forward-facing sonar a lot in that event, and not to necessarily target single fish, but just to identify fish holding on structure, and just gives me the confidence to fish those areas and stay in those right zones. Obviously, Hot Tackle and Mako Eyewear for providing unbelievable sunglasses to be able to see these fish when the sight fishing comes into its own as well.
Very good, mate. All right, fantastic, mate. Well, look, congratulations on another great result, and I'll talk to you in the next one.
All right, thanks again, Andrew.
Thanks, mate. All right, and finally, we have an angler dropping his 5 fish on the Tuesday for 7.096. Absolutely massive bag, backing it up with another 5 fish for 5.714, giving him a total of just under 1.3 per fish at 12.81 kilos. I have Stephen Pryke. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me back again.
Mate, what a cracking start to the season for you.
Yeah, it's can't ask for a much better way really to start the year.
Yeah.
Great way to kick it off, and hopefully we can keep the momentum rolling.
100%, mate. Local waterway, so travelling's got to be good. Everything's good. Take the win. Happy days.
Yeah, it's a pretty hard gig. Hold 10 minutes from the house.
Yeah, right. And then, of course, I guess a 7 kilo bag. Like once upon a time, I think it was 5 kilos. Now it's 7 kilos. Like cracking sort of benchmark to hit.
Oh, it's pretty wild. It's the knockover. Even 6 kilos is you're having a cracking day, but Gippsland Lakes is just getting crazier and crazier, really, and the opportunity for 7+ kilos is there.
Yeah, that's absolutely mental. All right, let's go back a bit. Let's go back to pre-fish. Tell us about your pre-fish and set up for the comp.
Pre-fish, sort of prior to the ban, I got out once. Didn't really pre-fish too hard leading up to the event. I was probably spending more time bass fishing than bream fishing.
Yeah, okay. That's still good.
Yeah, did one session on the Tambo mouth, managed to get a few good fish there. But then the official pre-fish, I had one of my good mates down from Melbourne, Erhan. So I took Erhan out because it was his first ever ABT event. So I took him out and sort of showed him a few bits and pieces because he hadn't fished Gippy before. And we just did a milk run, really. We it was a glassed out day, so you could just fang around us everywhere. And we did all typical Jones's Bay or Eagle Point Bay, Painsy, Block Sport, all over the joint. Like, I think by the time I mapped it out by the end of the day, we'd done about 60 kilometres.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Yeah, so we burnt around and there was a lot of different spots I just wanted to check and visually sort of check for fish in a sense, not necessarily catch them, just drive up the flat and drive down it and see if they're there, drive up to the docks and just hammer around on the electric and the live imaging and just see if they're sitting there.
Yeah, right. Okay. In terms of game plan going in, what were you thinking you were going to do?
With it being full moon, I sort of always thought it was either going to be, for me, it was either going to be up the river deal, fishing heavy structure, or always was going to be structure related in a sense. Generally, the flats get fairly tough here when you got full moon.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sort of, looking around Painsy, Duck, Newlands, Meetung, those places you got a lot of marinas, docks. There's good structure for him to sort of hang to on that full moon period.
Sure. And in terms of lures, so I watched your report with Morgo, so I know what you said there, but what were you thinking going in? What was going to be your go-to lures?
Generally on Gippy, I'm a plastics fisherman. That's generally my wheelhouse. So it's always mucking around with grubs, 100mm wrigglers, all that sort of bits and pieces. And typical Gippy, there's always a lot of cranking. Your sort of, your spikes, your dunks, all your bits and pieces like that normally come into play pretty heavily. So that's what I was sort of thinking was going to happen. Yeah, mostly pretty much did happen.
Okay, very, very good. All right, well, let's go into the Saturday. So like I said, massive bag. Sorry, it wasn't the Saturday, the Tuesday. Absolutely massive bag. Tell us how that came about.
So Tuesday, it was actually a pretty slow start. I started over near the Tambo mouth because I'd been getting a few fish there on the pre-fish. I had Beth Harris on day one with me, and we shot over there, and we probably gave it 45 minutes on the first spot, and I had 124 forker.
Okay.
So it wasn't a crash hot start.
No.
Ran up the back of Jones's, did a few milk run spots all up there. Couldn't even mark them on the live. Like, this ain't good. There was a couple of areas I was banking on, but generally I like the sun to come up a bit higher for these spots so you can really see them sitting in the timber, sitting on the docks.
Okay.
So I was sort of trying to waste a little bit of time, nearly in a sense, in the mornings. And if you picked up a good fish, it was a bonus.
Right. Okay.
So we sort of gave it till probably 9:30, 10 o'clock before I sort of bit the bullet and was like, all right, we got to go. We got to make something happen. I've got a 124 forker. Like,
yeah, this is not ideal.
I don't want to be walking around with a 124 forker on my home lake.
Exactly.
Yeah, so made the run, headed up towards Painsy and started fishing docks and structure. And I think when I got in there, I pulled a bag reasonably quickly. I got lucky and got one. I think it was about I can't remember. It was about a 41 forker straight up in there.
Okay.
So I got a good anchor fish when I got in there. And sort of like that took the pressure off a little bit and managed to, I think I picked up that one, then picked up some sort of like 30 to 28 sort of fork fish. So I managed to fill out a bag.
Yeah. Okay.
Which sort of help settle you a bit. You know what I mean? You got your 5, you always relax a bit once you've got your bag.
That's it, with one kicker. And what the kicker come on?
I think the first kicker might have been on a gold crabby that was non-weighted.
Okay.
Yeah, fishing it really high in the water column because you could quite often see them a foot, 2 foot down, just chewing and doing their thing.
Yeah, right.
So you got that one on the gold crabby. Then I started, pretty much my typical deal fishing these docks is grub, lightly weighted, 20th, 24th. So it just gets that spiral sink down nice and slowly. Went to that. Doing to that, got one more fish that was around that 41 fork size.
Yeah.
To fill out the 5th. So it's like, all right, we've got this 2 crackers now, and here we go. There's 3 kilos and 2 fish. Like,
it's a good start.
You can't have it much better.
Yeah.
It did that. I was only fishing a lighter 181 reaction then on 4 pound.
Okay.
And next, I think 3 proper fish I got to bite. I struggled on the hook set. I couldn't quite. You'd get them, and you'd get them halfway out and pulling hooks and just falling off stupid things, which hurt at the time because I'm thinking, there goes a 1.5, 1.6 kilo fish, and there goes another one. And I'm like, I'm just throwing this away. This dog's done.
Ouch. With your hooks, what were you running? You running the Seekers or?
That was the Gamakatsu ball heads.
They're around 25s?
The round 25s in the 120th. Yeah, that's one of my favourite jig heads. So I was doing that. And then in the past, I've had them like that in the like fishing docks and stuff like that. So I actually went heavier.
Okay.
So I picked up the new 3 to 8 pound Infinite.
Okay.
With a 2,500 Vanford on it, 10 pound braid, 6 pound leader, exact same plastic. And next one that bit it, that pretty much got it fed to it. It was tick and bang. Like, I'm setting that hook properly. You ain't coming off.
Yeah. And do you remember that fish? Like, whereabouts was the hook in the mouth? Do you remember? Can you picture it?
Smack in the roof of the mouth. Like, you couldn't really ask for much better hook up. It was, he wasn't coming off.
Interesting.
Yeah, he was pretty much in trouble.
100%. Wow, you must have been relieved to put one in the boat after missing a couple.
Yeah, missing a couple, and it start playing on your mind when you're thinking, here we go, I'm basically throwing this away and losing these fish.
Yeah, and was Beth on the net for you?
Yeah, Beth was all over it for me. I think she managed to learn a few bits and pieces, and it's a pleasure to have her on the boat.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so we managed to have a fairly decent bag. I thought that's by then it sort of, I think I had those couple around 40 fork, a 34 fork, and a 36 forker.
Okay.
And then it was sort of starting to get around that 1 o'clock-ish sort of time and started working our way out of there. And I'm like, all right, we've got to start heading back. Like, I had to be back at 2:15.
Yeah.
And from where I was fishing, it's sort of, for me, it's close to a 20-minute run.
Yeah, okay. So you got
it's
half an hour, 40 minutes to sort of play.
Half an hour, 40 minutes. And I sort of had a quick last-ditched effort on the way out. And I'm thinking, Healey's got me at the moment. I had a quick squiz on the live scoreboard.
Yeah.
And he's got me at the moment. I'm going to need some, good upgrades. And literally on the way out, I hit 2 more docks and swung in there and like 38 fork. I'm like, that closes things up real good.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and then I was sort of on the way back and I was like, I wonder if they're out this wide. Because I don't normally, from this set, I normally don't fish these ones that are out in the middle of the lake.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, jokingly, I was like, we'll have a quick squiz here, then we'll keep going. And I've literally pitched the grub in there. It's gone next to it. Clunk, swung on it, missed it.
Okay.
See, but when I missed it because I was fishing so high in the water column, you seen the plastic shoot along.
Okay.
I shot along. I've watched this 41 fork fish just like charge this thing like it's like a tuna. Just flew out, smoked the plastic, completely inhaled it, and then bang, belted the hook into him. And yeah, so I got pretty lucky. I got that bonus one, like 130 on day one.
Wow.
So, yeah, got that last one, pretty much uploaded it and was like, all right, we're going.
Yeah, that's crazy. What I like about that, when I've talked to Morgo about him fishing aquas, he said if you belt it, he said it just flies out of the air and they don't know where it went. So, but that one obviously got chased by another fish.
Yeah, it was awesome just to watch it. It just full on like it wanted to kill it. It was 100% committed.
Right. Wow, that is hectic. What colour plastic are you running?
Just bloodworm, mate.
Just bloodworm.
Pretty much kicking it old school, mate. Just bloodworm grubs.
Wow, man. Wow, you got all that money, mate. You just want to buy grubs.
Yeah, you just want to buy grubs, mate. It was keeping it simple.
Fair enough. All right, mate. Well, absolutely cracking day on the Tuesday. Over 7 kilos. What was it like in the nighttime? Because you're leading the comp, there's a bit of nerves associated with that.
Yeah, a little bit. There's a little bit of nerves, but then I was sort of confident that I felt like I could go back and potentially get at least 6 kilos.
Okay. That's a good confidence.
Yeah, so it's like I know in a way I was like, I felt confident that I was like, okay, I've got enough there. If I can get them to bite again, I can back myself up. So wasn't too nervous about it. I've sort of been lucky enough now, being around it long enough, probably like yourself, you have yourself in those opportunities enough, you start to get a little bit more used to it.
Yeah. Well, I think you trust yourself. You go, yep, I can bring this home.
Yeah, you learn to back yourself a bit, but there's still always that little bit in the back of your head, especially when you got a bloke like Mark Healey. You put on your heels,
100%.
There's a little bit of pressure.
100%. And at that point, like at the end, it was a reasonable margin, but at that point, you don't know.
Oh, especially on Gippy, like it's one bite and game over.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Tell us, how did day 2 start for you, mate? How was the Wednesday?
So I booted it pretty much straight back to where I got them. I went straight back there. Me and Ben on day 2, Ben McLean, which was his first event.
Oh, nice.
So, he was frothing it. He was keen as mustard to be out there for his first ever ABT.
Yeah, with the guy in the front.
Yeah, we shot straight back to where we were getting them. And just trying to remember. I think I got a couple of little fellas early.
Yeah.
I think I got a couple rats. And it was a lot slower for me that day.
Yeah.
I sort of just picked them off every now and then. You'd pick off one. I did get lucky. I think my 4th fish of the day was for another 41.5 fork.
Right.
So it was my biggest fish I got.
Yeah, wow.
So that was like my 4th fish, and then I got a 36, 30, yeah, so like something about a 36 forker to fill off the bag. So kilo, lazy kilo fish.
Yeah, that's it. So do you have what'd you say, 41.5? What did they weigh that in at, like 1.7?
I think it was 163, 164 they gave me for those.
Yeah.
So yeah, take 1.6 for them. They're a pretty good fish.
Yeah, so 2.6 for just those 2 fish.
2 fish, and then I had sort of your bag of sort of your low 30s. I think I had some little fellas, and I sort of slowly ticked along, just rounding them up.
Yeah,
it was sort of pretty much rinse and repeat. Went there, exact same grub, same rod. I didn't even fish light that day. I just fished 6 pound pretty much the whole day.
Yep.
And just like if I'm going to get them to bite, I'm just going to smack them and just try and keep them a stick.
Okay, so run me through a cast then of like if you're casting at a dock or a tree or whatever it is. Tell us how you go about doing that.
So a lot of them, because it was so still, it was nearly no wind or a little light breeze, bright sun. It was pretty hot for us Victorians the weekend. It was sort of in those 30s.
It was warm.
So a lot of the fish were sitting really high in the water column. So I'd try and approach it generally on the shadowed side. You'd see them sitting up high and try and, like rack fishing, or how I rack fish, you cast past it and you literally let it plink in, roll it back, and then drop it down to them.
Yeah, right.
So it sort of doesn't have that splash directly on their head, so it doesn't spook them as easy. And they sort of just, all of a sudden, this food appears.
Okay.
And like food appears and it's wafting down nice and slowly. And generally, if you're going to get a good fish, it wouldn't sink more than a foot down.
Yeah, right.
It'd be on the initial sink.
Yeah, wow. So I take it it's a slow roll, like it's not a rip.
No, so it's just a slow roll just to keep it high in the water column till you get to where you want, and then pretty much just drop the rod, stop winding, so it does that nice slow sink back down, right nice and tight.
Okay. And if you're on the heavy gear, you would have been on the Infinite. It's on the Wednesday. How is that for setting the hook?
It's, well, that 3 to 8, it's got a nice light tip, so you can fish lightly weighted plackies and that. But that 3 to 8's got a ton of guts in it.
Yeah, right.
Like I was pretty impressed with it. Like compared to even the older model, this new one is, you can seriously lean on it. Like I first thought it's going to be a little bit light to be a bass rod, but I reckon bass and probably Holland's Landing, you better play with the 3 to 8 pound there quite comfortably. Yeah, it's got a lot of guts in it.
Yeah, and I take it you're hitting them, you're giving them a decent whack.
Oh, I'm giving them a decent whack. I'm not playing nicely.
and then just so I can get the thing in my head, is it's just a whack and then one like crazy?
Yeah, whack, get up them a fairly way just to get their head out and get them under control.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got them clear, generally I'd just get on the lecky and try and tow them out.
Yeah.
Once you got them clear, then I'd back off on them and take your time and all that sort of stuff and get them in the boat.
Yeah.
But once you're clear, you're laughing, then you could just banana drag them basically.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was just that initial get away from the structure when you sort of hook that kilo plus fish and timber.
Yeah.
You don't really want them to get their head going.
Yeah, I hear you. And I take it, if you're fishing like that, if you get a little one, it's probably coming out of the water.
Yeah, he's not going to argue with you in a sense. He's coming towards you pretty quickly.
Yeah, fair
Not
enough.
quite as hard as you're going racks, but you're getting there.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. So how'd you kind of round out your bag? Because it feels like there's a couple more upgrades to come.
Yeah, so we sort of just gradually ticked along in there and just slowly just chipped away, upgrading like literally some centimetres by centimetres and rounded them up. I think I got them all up sort of, can't exactly remember my bag off the top of my head, my lengths on the final day. But I know like late in, about from 11 o'clock, I didn't get a fish that helped me at all.
Okay.
So it started playing on the mind from about 11:30. It's like, hopefully Healey's not catching them. Hopefully me tongue's not playing ball, because it's like you never know what's going to happen.
That's just a hope, isn't it? So you had a 41.5, a 38, 36.5, 35, 34.5. That was your final bag. So your smallest fish was 34.5, which is still a great fish.
Yeah, which I think I had one smaller than that at 11 o'clock. And I pretty much didn't catch anything from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock then.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I didn't catch a fish. It glassed out. I could watch them and missing them and just, nothing worked.
Mm-hmm.
And I rolled the dice and pretty much left. So I left where I caught my fish pretty much for the whole weekend and went for a run. And sort of between most people that know Gippsland Lakes and Duck Arm in that area, there's a bit of a gravelly reef on the corners. And I literally come back out of Duck Arm and a slight breeze picked up.
Right.
And that was about 1 o'clock-ish. And I said to my nonny, I'm like, we'll go give that point a quick go and then we'll start working our way back.
Yeah.
And we literally pulled up on the point, dropped the pole down and started punching hards up against the rocks. I think I pulled a couple of little fish, like 28, 34 I'm like, well, at least we're getting bit, because the flats had been dead all pretty much the whole event. Yeah, sort of did that, helped Benny out, gave him one of the hard bodies I was getting them on.
Okay.
He didn't have any colour. And then pretty much I punched out a massive big cast down the edge and was just rolling it back and clunked 38 forker. And when I hooked it and I said to Benny, is like, this is the one. Like, this is like the nail in the coffin. If I get this is pretty much game over.
Yeah.
It was a bit tense and a bit nerve-wracking. It was probably the most nervous I've been on a fish for quite a while. And got that. When I put it on the scorecard, it was 140 when I submitted that fish.
Wow. What was your flight time? When were you back?
2:15.
Okay.
And I was a bit further again away from where I'd been fishing. So it was over 20 minutes sort of run for me.
Yeah.
So we got that, and then it was pretty much like I let Benny have a few more casts because he only had 2. He was trying to get that one more. We had a few more casts. I'm like, mate, we got to go.
Yeah.
Pretty much, hightailed it back to me, Doug.
Yeah, wow. All right.
Yeah, so got lucky both days pretty much. That 1:30-ish time each day, I sort of managed to get that one that got me over the line.
Yeah. It's like the lunchtime kickers thing, mate. It's a real thing, especially down there.
Yeah, it seems to happen late, especially typically down here, late in the days when that wind picks up.
Yeah.
If that wind kicks up midday-ish, you got that chance you can come home pretty hard.
Yeah, I like it because it kind of gives you hope, because you can have a really rough day and then in the last hour of fishing, you can bring it home.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good. All right, let's wrap up the fishing part of it. So bloodworm grubs, some gold crabbies, the cranks, anything in particular, or just a crank?
It was nothing special, just the old spike.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty much standout. Just that style down here is a standout.
Yeah, okay. Lines and leaders. So I know you had your 6 pound on. Tell me exactly what they were.
So on the Infinite, I had the 10 pound atomic lines in the 8 strand.
Yep.
Down to the atomic line 6 pound fluorocarbon leader.
Beautiful.
Then that was matched up to the 3 to 8 pound Infinite with a 2,500 Bamford. And then so the lighter rod I was sort of using, I was a 181 Reaction, which is one of my favourite grubbing rods.
Yeah.
That was pretty much same 10 pound on Alluvius, but then 4 pound leader.
Okay.
So it was just a little bit lighter. Yeah, it was sort of nothing outstandingly different or crazy in a sense I was doing with it. And then the one I was cranking with was the 151 Reaction, which is the 7'4" one, which is one of my favourites. It's just punching a mile with that little bit more length.
Yeah, nice. Very, very good. All right, mate, I reckon that's a pretty good wrap-up of the fishing. Now tell us, what did you get to take home for first place?
So I got $4,250. That was pretty nice payout there. And then obviously with Mercury supporting ABT, they do the Mercury bonus.
Yep.
And because I run a Merc, so I managed to pick up an extra $250 cash.
Beautiful.
So it was a nice little bit of bonus back.
Yep.
Pays for the fuel pretty much for the week.
100%.
Yeah, so that was all nice. So yeah, just under $4.5 grand for the weekend, or not for the weekend, for the week.
And a little trophy, you had to take it.
Nice trophy. Yes, go up on the mantelpiece.
Yep.
And a nice big novelty check. We all sort of love those big novelty checks.
Absolutely.
They look good in the photos.
Yeah, I know they are great. I love a novelty check. I need more of them. Mate, last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Obviously, yeah, big thanks to yourself and having me back on the project. I'm always keen to be a part of it and sort of share the experience. Big thanks to the guys at ABT, Morgan and Nicole, always run cracker events, and it's always good fun to catch up with everyone sort of from all over the country.
Yeah.
And then obviously, yeah, just big supporters of me, obviously my friends and family, but Frogley's Offshore, Anaconda, and the team at Hobie Asian Pacific have all been great supporters of me for many years and hopefully many years to come.
Very, very good, mate. All right, mate. Well, look, I'm very pleased for you. Cracking event. Well done. And, mate, hopefully we get to talk to you after one of these Hobie rounds coming up.
Yeah, fingers crossed, mate.
Thanks, mate. Okay. There you have it, everybody. I want to take this point in time to give a big shout out to the anglers here. I've got a lot to book in these weeks and everyone was superb and we were able to get this done really quickly. So I really want to give a shout out to those. A lot of these guys were tired. They've driven lots of Ks, got back and then had to spend an hour or so talking to me. So I want to take the time to appreciate these guys and say thank you. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this one up quickly. Special congratulations to Steve Pryke. Mate, well done on taking this one out in your local waterway. And of course, Simon Krause coming back and winning a second one. How good's that? All right, look, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening. And look, I will talk to you next week on the Bream Fishing Project. And guess what? We're doing an ABT at Malakuta, so don't miss that one.
Thanks for listening. Hopefully you were informed, inspired and entertained. If you were able to learn something or just enjoyed listening, please consider subscribing and rate us on your favourite podcasting platform.